That kitchen's hot.
What, Essie?
I say, that kitchen's awful hot. That new candy I'm making, it just won't ever cool.
Oh, do you have to make candy today, Essie? It's such a hot day.
Well, I got all those new orders. Edwin now got a bunch of new orders.
My, if he keeps on, I suppose he'll be opening up a store.
That's what Ed was saying last night. But I said no. I want to be a dancer.
Oh, well, the only trouble with dancing is it takes such a long time. You've been studying for such a long time.
Only 8 years. After all, Mother, you've been writing plays for 8 years. We started about the same time, didn't we?
Yes, but you shouldn't count my first 2 years because I was still learning to type.
I think the candies are hardening up now, Miss Essie.
Oh, thanks, Reba. I'll bring some in, Mother. I want you to try it.
Did you finish the second act yet, Miss Sycamore?
Oh, what?
I said, did you finish the second act yet?
Oh, no, I've just had Cynthia entering the monastery.
Oh. Wasn't she at the Kit Kat?
Oh, yes, but she gets tired of the Kit Kat Club and there's this monastery, so she goes there.
Oh.
So, yeah, she arrives on Visitor's Day and just stays.
You mean she stays all night?
Oh, no, she stays 6 years.
My, 6 years. She must have busted that monastery wide open.
6 years later.
Mr. DePena!
Yeah?
Mr. DePena, you bring up one of those new skyrockets, please. I want to show them to Miss Sycamore.
Sure.
Look at these new firecrackers we just made up, Penny. We can sell them 10 strings for $1 cent. Listen. Nice, huh?
Paul, dear, were you ever in a monastery?
No, I wasn't. Wait till you see the new skyrockets, Penny. First, gold stars, then blue stars, then bombs, then a balloon. Mr. DePena thought of a balloon.
Sounds lovely. Did you do all that today?
Sure, we made them. Oh, here we are. Look, Penny, we can make them for 18 cents and sell them for 50. How many do you figure we can make before the 4th of July, Mr. DePena?
Well, we got 2 weeks yet. What day are you planning on taking the stuff up to Mount Vernon?
About a week. Say, we're going to need a large booth this year. Got a lot of stuff made up. Come on, we're not through yet.
Wait, now, Mr. Sycamore, I'm afraid the powder's too close to the balloon.
Well, we got the stars and the bombs in between.
Yeah, but the stars and the bombs don't give the balloon time enough. The balloon needs plenty of time.
Come on, let's try it.
Mr. DePena, if a girl you loved ever entered a monastery, what would you do?
Oh, I don't know, Miss Sycamore. It's been so long.
Is Miss Alice going to be joining us for dinner tonight, Miss Sycamore?
What? Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Well, I'll set a place for her, but she's only been home one night this week.
Yes, I know.
Miss Essie's making some mighty good candy in there. She's doing something new with coconut.
That's nice.
Let's see, 6, and Mr. DePena, and then Mr. Kalenkov comes, that makes 8, don't it? Yeah, I better set for 8.
You know what, Reba? I think I'll put this play away for a little while and go back to the war play.
Oh, I always loved that one, the war play. Boom, boom!
They'll be better when they're harder, Mother. But try one. I want to know what you think.
Oh, they look lovely. What you call them?
I think I'll call them Love Dreams.
Oh, that's nice. I'm going back to the war play. Essie, what do you think?
Oh, are you, Mother?
Yes, I sort of got myself into a monastery and can't get out.
Oh, it'll come to you, Mother. Remember how you got yourself out of that brothel? The snakes look hungry. Did Reba feed them?
I don't know. Reba, have you fed the snakes yet?
Oh no, Donald's coming and he always brings flies with him.
Oh, well, be sure to feed them before Grandpa gets home. You know how fussy he is about them.
Yes, sir.
And take this into the kitchen with you. Believe I'll have myself another love dream.
Mr. DePena was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder.
Want to love dream, Father? They're on the table.
Oh, no thanks. I gotta go wash.
Oh, Paul, I'm going back to the war play.
Oh, that's nice. Say, put red stars after the bombs and then the balloon. That ought to do it.
You know, Mr. Klenkow says I'm his most promising pupil.
You'd think with 40 monks and 1 girl, something would happen.
Essie! Hey, Essie!
Got a lot of you in it. I made those new candies this afternoon, Ed.
Yeah?
You can take them around tonight.
Here's the finish. This is me.
That's fine, Ed. Remember it when Call comes, will you?
Ed, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was thinking about it just the other day.
I don't know. We could have one if you wanted us to. What about it, Essie? Do you want to have a baby?
Oh, I don't care. I'm willing if Grandpa is.
Well, let's ask him.
Labor play. Religious play. Sex play. I know it's here someplace.
I was right about the balloon. It was too close to the pipe.
Anything you want printed, Mr. DePinna? How about some more calling cards?
No thanks. I've still got the first 1,000.
Well, call on somebody, will ya?
All right.
What do we got for dinner tonight, Reba? I'm ready to print the menu.
Oh, okay. We have cornflakes, some of those candies Miss Essie's making, and some kind of meat, I forget.
I think I'll set that up in bold-faced Cheltenham. You know, if I'm gonna take those candies around, I better print up some descriptive matter after dinner.
Oh, do you suppose anybody actually reads those things, Ed, that you put in the candy boxes? Oh, here it is! The war play! Poison gas! Oh, that must be Donald. Look at Reba smile.
Boyfriend, eh, Reba?
Oh, they're awfully cute, Donald and Reba.
Hi, Donald.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Donald. How have you been?
Oh, I'm pretty good, Mr. Ed. How have you been, Mrs. Sycamore?
Very well, thank you. Donald, were you ever in a monastery?
No, ma'am, I don't go no place much. You know, I'm on relief.
Yes, of course.
Here's a fly for you. I caught a big mess of them today.
You sure did.
Well, I see you've been working, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, yes, indeed, Donald.
How's Grandpa?
Oh, just fine. He's over at Columbia this afternoon, the commencement exercises.
My. The years certainly do roll around, huh?
What's he go there for all the time, eh, Penny?
I don't know. It's so useful, just around the corner.
Oh, Donald.
Mr. Penn and I are bringing the stuff up to Mount Vernon next week, and I was wondering if you could give us a hand.
Oh, yes, sir. Only I can't take no money for it this year, because if the government finds out I've been working, they'll get sore.
Ed, I got a wonderful idea in the toilet just now. I was reading Trotsky. It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I left it there.
Who is it?
You know, Trotsky, the Russian Revolution.
Oh.
Anyhow, I thought it'd make a great fireworks display. Remember the last days of Pompeii?
Oh, yes, Palisades Park. Oh, that's where we met.
Well, I'm gonna do the revolution, a full-hour display.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Red fire's the flag, huh?
Sure, and the Tsar, and the Cossacks.
And the freeing of the slave?
No, Donald, the Russian Revolution.
Well, sir, you should have been there.
Grandpa.
That's all I can say. You should have been there.
Oh, was it a nice commencement, Grandpa?
Oh, wonderful. They get better every year. You don't know how lucky you are. You're snakes.
Big class this year, Grandpa? How many were there?
Oh, must have been 2 acres. Everybody graduated. And much funnier speeches than they had last year, too.
Well, you want to hear a funny speech, you go up there and see Father Divine.
Oh, I'll wait. They'll have them at Columbia.
Oh, Donald, would you tell Reba that Grandpa's home and we won't wait for Miss Alice?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Reba! Grandpa's home, we can have dinner!
Wait till you see the new skyrocket we made up today, Grandpa.
Oh, evening, Grandpa.
Evening, Mr. DePinna.
Mr. DePinna, did we make a fine new rocket today?
We certainly did.
Say, I wonder why they don't have fireworks at commencements.
They don't make near enough noise. You take a good commencement orator, he'll drown out a whole carload of fireworks, and save just as much too.
Oh, don't the graduates ever say anything, Grandpa?
No, they just sit there in their cap and gowns and get their diplomas, and then along about 40 years from now, they'll suddenly say, "Where am I?"
Hello, Grandpa. Have a nice day.
Hello, have a nice day. Don't I get kissed?
Excuse me, Grandpa.
I think I'll take a tomato too. You know, I could have used a few of these this afternoon.
Father?
Oh, no, thank you.
Mother?
Oh, no thanks, dear.
Play something, Ed.
All right.
There was a letter came for you, Grandpa. Did you get it?
That letter for me? Well, I don't know anybody.
It was for you, though. It had your name on it.
Oh, really? Well, where is it?
I don't know. Mother, where's Grandpa's letter?
What, dear?
Where's that letter that came for Grandpa last week?
I don't know. Oh, I remember seeing it over here someplace.
Well, who is it from? Did you notice?
Yes, it was on the outside.
Well, who was it?
The United States government.
Really? I wonder what they wanted.
There's one before that, too. From the same people. There were a couple of them.
Well, if any more come, I wish you'd give them to me.
Yes, Grandpa.
You know, I think I'll go down to Westchester tomorrow and do a little snake hunting.
God is the state state is God.
What's that?
God is the state is God.
Who says that?
Trotsky?
Oh, well, that's fine. I thought you said it.
Nice print, you know? Good and short. G-O-B space I-S space D-H-E space.
And the beautiful princess walked into the palace and kissed her mother and her father and her grandfather.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandpa. And what do you think? They turned into the Sycamore family. Surprised?
Oh, Alice, I like it.
Do you?
It's new, isn't it?
It looks nice and summery.
Where did you get it?
Oh, I took a walk during lunch hour.
You've been taking a lot of walks lately. That's your second new dress this week.
Well, I like to brighten up the office every once in a while. I'm known as the K. Francis of Kirby and Company. Well, what's new around here? In the way of plays, snakes, ballet dancing, or fireworks? Why, Dad, I'll bet you've been down in that cellar all day.
What?
Oh, Alice, dear, I'm going back to the war play.
Really, Mother?
And play us that Beethoven thing you wrote.
You know, you can mail a letter all the way from Nicaragua now for only 2 pesetos.
Really?
Kenneth, my virginity is a priceless thing to me. Yes.
Listen, people, listen. I'm not home to dinner. A young gentleman is calling for me.
Oh, well, isn't that nice?
Really? Who is it?
I've done everything possible to keep him from coming here, but he's calling for me.
Why don't you two stay for dinner?
No, I want him to take you in easy doses. I've tried to prepare him, but don't make it any worse than you can help. So, don't read him any plays, Mother, and don't let a snake bite him, Grandpa, because I like him. And Essie, I wouldn't dance for him. We're going to the Monte Carlo Ballet tonight.
We can't do anything. Who is he? President of the United States?
No, he's Vice President of Kirby and Company, Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.
The boss's son?
Well,
The boss's son, just like the movies.
That explains the new dresses.
Not being home to dinner for 3 weeks.
Why, Sherlock Holmes.
oh, are you going to marry him, Alice?
Oh, of course, tonight. Meanwhile, I have to go up and put on my wedding dress.
Is he good looking?
Yes, in a word. Oh, dear, what time is it?
Oh, I don't know. Anybody know what time it is?
Mr. DeBenham might know.
It's about 5 o'clock a couple hours ago.
I have no better than ask you people. Will you let me know the minute he comes, please?
Of course, dear.
Yes, I know, but I mean the minute he comes.
Why, of course.
Well, be sure.
Well, what do you think of that?
She certainly seems to like him, if you ask me.
I should say so. She's got it bad.
Well, imagine if they get married. We could have the wedding right in this room.
Now, Penny, this is the first time he's ever called for the girl.
Oh, well, you only ever called for me once.
Kids are different nowadays.
Oh, I don't know. Look at Envy. He came to dinner once and just stayed.
Oh, well, anyhow, I think it's wonderful, don't you, Grandpa?
Well, she certainly seems happy about it.
Oh, he must be crazy about her. Maybe that's why she hasn't been home a night this week. Oh, this must be him. Never mind, Reba, I'll get it. Oh, now everybody remember what Alice said and be very nice to him.
Well, let's take a look at him.
Well, welcome to our little home.
How'd you do?
I'm Alice's mother, and that's Alice's grandfather, and Alice's father. Oh, and Alice's sister and her husband, Ed Carmichael. Now give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
I'm afraid you must be making a mistake.
How's that?
Well, my card.
Mr. Wilbur C. Henderson, Internal Revenue Department.
That's right.
Well, what can we do for you?
Does a Mr. Martin Vanderhoff live here?
Oh, yes, sir, that's me.
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, the government would like to speak to you about a little matter of income tax.
Income tax?
May I sit down?
Oh, yes, just go right ahead.
Thank you.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby?
Oh, no, dear. It's an internal something or other. Pardon me.
Mr. Sycamore, excuse me.
What is it?
These things, they're not going off.
Not now, Mr. DePena. Grandpa's busy. Oh, pardon me.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we've written you several letters about this, but have not had any reply.
Oh, that's what those letters were.
I told you they were from the government.
Oh. Well, according to our records, Mr. Vanderhoff, you have never filed your income tax.
Well, that's right.
Well, why not?
I don't believe in it.
Well, you own property, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And you receive a yearly income from it?
I do.
Of between $3,000 and $4,000.
Yeah, about that.
And you've been receiving it for years.
Oh, yes, since 1901 if you want the exact date.
Well, the government is only concerned from 1914 on. You see, that's when the income tax began.
Well,
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, it appears you owe the government 24 years back income tax.
Wait a minute. You can't go back that far. That's outlawed.
And, what's your name?
What difference does that make?
Have you ever filed an income tax return?
No, sir.
And what was your yearly income last year?
$28.50. Wasn't it, Essie?
Yes, sir.
If you'll please. Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, you realize there's quite a penalty for not paying your income tax.
Penalty?
now look here, Mr. Henderson. Let me ask you something.
Well,
Now, suppose I pay you this money, and mind you, I don't say I'm going to pay it, but just for the sake of argument, what's the government going to do with it?
how do you mean?
Well, what do I get for my money? I go into Macy's and buy something, there it is. I see it. What's the government going to give me?
Why, the government gives you everything. It protects you.
Yeah, from what?
Well, invasion. Foreigners that might come over here and take everything you've got.
Oh, I don't think they're going to do that.
If you don't pay your taxes, they would. How do you think the government keeps up the Army or the Navy or all those battleships?
You know, we haven't used battleships since the Spanish-American War. And what do we get out of that? Cuba. And we gave that back. You know, I wouldn't mind paying it if it were something sensible.
Sensible? What about Congress and the Supreme Court and the President? We've got to pay them, haven't we?
Not with my money, no sir.
Now, wait just a minute. I'm not here to argue with you. All I know is you haven't paid your taxes and you have to do it.
They've got to show me.
No, we haven't got to show you. I just told you. All those buildings down in Washington and interstate commerce and the Constitution.
The Constitution was paid for years ago. And interstate commerce... Say, what is interstate commerce?
There are 48 states, see? And if we didn't have interstate commerce, nothing could go from one state to the next.
Why not? They got fences?
No, they haven't got fences, they've got laws. My God, I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, I might pay about $75, but that's all that it's worth.
No, you'll pay every cent of it like everybody else.
Listen, Essie, listen to this a minute.
And let me tell you something else. You'll go to jail. Do you hear that? That's the law. And if you think you're bigger than the law, you've got another thing coming. You're no better than anybody else, and the sooner you get that through your head, the better. You'll hear from the United States government. That's all I can say.
Look out for the snake.
How was that, Essie?
Fine, Ed.
How did that sound to you folks?
I liked it.
My, he was mad, wasn't he?
Well, it's not his fault. It's just the whole thing is so silly.
He forgot his hat.
Let's see. What size is that hat?
Oh, 7.5.
Just right for me.
Say, who was that fellow anyway?
Oh, this must really be Mr. Kirby.
Better be sure this time.
Oh, I will.
I do hope he's good looking.
Oh, how do you do?
Good evening.
Is this Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.?
Yes.
Oh, please come in. We've been expecting you. Please come in. Now, I'm Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore, and that's Mr. Sycamore, and Alice's grandfather, and Alice's sister, and her husband. Oh, now give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
Thank you.
Oh,
Is that Mr. Kirby, Mother?
oh, yes, it is, dear. He's lovely. Oh,
I'll be right down.
do sit down, Mr. Kirby.
Thanks. I hope I'm not keeping you from dinner.
No, not at all. Have a tomato?
No, thank you.
How about a piece of candy?
No, thanks.
Oh, I have forgotten to introduce Mr. DePina. Now, Mr. DePina, this is Mr. Kirby.
Say, wasn't I reading about your father in the paper the other day? Didn't he get indicted or something? Hardly that. He just testified before the Securities Commission.
Yes, I'm sure there was nothing crooked about it, Mr. DePina. Oh, As a matter of fact, Alice is always telling us what a lovely man your father is.
Well, we all know Father wouldn't get along without Alice. She knows the business better than any of us.
Oh, you're awful young, Mr. Kirby, aren't you? To be running such a big place like that?
Well, you know what that means? Vice president. All I get is a desk with my name on it.
Oh, is that all? Don't you get any salary?
Well, a little, more than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Now he's just being modest.
Seems kind of dull to me, Wall Street. Do you like it?
Well, the hours are short, and I haven't been there very long.
Oh, you just out of college, huh?
Yeah, I sort of knocked around for a little bit, just kind of had fun.
What'd you do, travel?
For a while, then went to Cambridge for a year.
Oh, England.
Oh.
That's right.
Oh, see, what's an English commencement like? Did you see any?
Very impressive.
Oh, they are, huh?
Anyhow, now the fun's over, and I'm facing the world.
Oh, well, it's not a bad start, is it? Vice president and a rich father.
Well, that's hardly my fault.
Oh, well, now I suppose you're ready to settle down and get married?
Now, Penny, I'm sure Mr. Kirby can make up his own mind.
Oh, well, I wasn't making up his mind for him, was I, Mr. Kirby?
It's quite all right, Mrs.
Oh,
Sycamore.
You mustn't rush him, Mother.
I wasn't rushing him. I was simply saying he's bound to get married, and suppose the wrong girl gets him.
Well, here I am with Vision in Blue. Apparently you've all had the chance to get acquainted.
Oh, yes, you've just been having a lovely conversation about love and marriage.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry I came down as fast as I could.
I didn't mind in the least.
Damn, those flies in the kitchen, everywhere. Miss Alice, oh, you look beautiful. Where are you going?
I'm going out, Reba.
Oh, stepping, huh? Okay.
That must be Glencoe.
I think we better go, Tony.
All right.
Grandpa, you take cream with your cornflakes. Forget.
Oh, half and half, that one.
Rebishka! My little Rebishka!
Yeah, that's Glencove, all right.
Yes, sir, Mr. Glencoe.
Good evening, everybody!
Good
evening.
Grandpa, what do you think? I've had a letter from Russia. The second 5-year plan is a failure!
I practiced today, Mr. Glencoe.
Magarova!
Well, if you'll pardon us, Mr. Glencoe.
My little never have I seen you look so magnificent.
Thank you, Mr. Glencoe. Tony, this is Essie's dancing teacher, Mr. Glencoe. Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Glencoe, we're going to see the Monte Carlo Ballet.
The Monte Carlo Ballet? It stinks!
Yes. Well, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm so glad to have met you all. Goodbye.
Monte Carlo Ballet!
Oh, isn't Mr. Kirby lovely? Oh, come on, everybody, it's time for dinner.
I thought he was a nice fellow, didn't you?
And so good looking.
And didn't you notice his manners, Paul? He had such nice manners.
I did. You were getting very personal with it.
Oh, now, Paul. Anyhow, he's a wonderful young man.
I think you look like a cousin of mine.
Natinsky! Then you have the ballet!
I think if they get married here, I'll put the altar over there by the snakes. Do you think they'll mind, Grandpa?
No, not the snakes don't.
Okay.
Oh, no, they'll want to get married in a church.
Just like a church wedding.
Quiet, everybody. Quiet. Well, sir, we've been getting along pretty good for quite some time now, and we're certainly much obliged. Remember, all we ask is to go along and be happy in our own sort of way. Of course, we want to keep our health, but as far as anything else is concerned, we leave it up to you. Thank you. So, the second 5-year plan is a failure, eh, Glencove?
Disastrous! And wait until they try the third 5-year
Of course,
plan.
this family is going to want to come. Imagine Alice marrying a Kirby.
Think of that. Isn't it exciting?
I'll play the wedding march on the xylophone.
What do we got for dinner? I'm hungry.
into any theater gives me a thrill.
Well, it's been so lovely, Tony. I hate to have it over.
Oh, is it over? Do I have to go right away?
Not if you don't want to.
I don't.
Would you like something cold to drink?
Wonderful.
I'll go see what's in the icebox. Want to come along?
I'd follow you to the ends of the earth.
Oh, there's just the kitchen's enough.
Why I like it? Done it very simply, haven't you?
Yes, we couldn't decide whether to do Empire or Neo Grecian.
So you settled for Frigidaire.
Yes, it's so easy to live with. Lucky you weren't hungry, Mr. K. An icebox full of cornflakes? That gives you a rough idea of the sycamores.
Of course. Why they make these bottle openers so damn hard to... All over my coat.
I'll take mine in a glass if you don't mind.
There you are. A foaming beaker.
Anyhow, it's cold.
Now, if you'll please be seated, Miss Sycamore, I'd like to offer a toast.
I am seated.
Miss Sycamore, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. To you.
You know something?
What?
I wouldn't trade 1 minute of this evening for all the rice in China.
Really?
Cross my heart.
Is there much rice in China?
Plenty. Didn't you read The Good Earth? I suppose I ought to go.
Oh, is it very late?
Very. I don't want to go.
I don't want you to.
All right. I won't. When do you take your vacation?
The last 2 weeks in August.
I might take mine then too.
Really?
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I hadn't much thought about it.
Going away, do you think?
I might not. I quite like the city in the summertime.
I do too.
Really? But you always go up to Maine, don't you?
Well, yes, but of course, I'm sure I would love the city in the summertime if, but you know what I mean, Alice. I'd love it if you were here.
Well, it'd be nice if you were here.
You know what you're saying, don't you?
What?
That you'd rather spend the summer with me than with anybody else?
Was I?
Well, if it's true about the summer, how would you feel about the winter?
Yes, I'd like that too.
Then there's spring and autumn, if you could see your way clear about those, Miss Sycamore.
I might.
Well, that's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
Well, then...
Alice, is that you? Oh, what time is it? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Kirby. I had no idea that... Oh, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
Well, I just came down for a manuscript. And then you two can go right ahead. Here it is. Sex takes a holiday. Well, good night, Tony.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, well, I think you can call me Penny, don't you, Alice? At least I hope so.
What is that?
It's all right, Tony. That's just Father.
At this time of night?
Any time of night. Any time of day.
You know, you're more lovely, more beautiful, more adorable than anyone else in the whole world.
Don't, Tony.
What? Darling, just because your mother, all mothers are like that, Alice, and Penny's a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
It isn't that, Tony. Look, I should have told you this a long time ago, but I didn't have the courage. I let myself be swept away Because I loved you so.
Darling.
No, listen, Tony, I need to make this clear to you. You and I, we're of two different worlds, two different kinds of people. Oh, I don't mean money or socially, that's too silly, but your family and mine, it wouldn't work.
Well, all right, have it your way. She can't dance, that's why they pay her all that money, because she can't dance.
Well, I don't call that dancing what she does. Oh. Hello. How was the ballet?
It was fine, Essie.
Wonderful. Hello there. Hello.
Look, what do you people think? Ed and I just saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I always thought so.
What does she do anyhow? Now look, Mr. Kirby, you're Fred Astaire and I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
Oh, I only want to use him for a minute. Now look, Mr. Kirby.
Essie, you're just as good as Ginger Rogers, we all agree.
You see, Ed?
Yeah, come on, we're butting in here.
Oh, they've been together all evening. Good night, Mr. Kirby. Good night, Alice.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Good night. Oh, Essie, did you ask Grandpa about us having a baby?
Oh, yes. He said to go right ahead.
Now do you see? That's what it would be like.
I didn't mind that. Anyhow, we wouldn't be living with your family, it'd just be you and I.
It isn't that, Tony. It's never just that. I love them. I love them deeply. Some people could break away, but I couldn't. I know they do rather strange things, but they're gay and they're fun, and I don't know, there's a kind of nobility about them.
Alice, you talk as though you're the only person that could understand that. And that's not true. Why, every family's got curious little traits. But what of it? My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? My mother believes in spiritualism. That's almost as bad as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because it's fashionable, and your father raises orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago a typewriter was delivered here by mistake.
Darling, what of it?
And what about Grandpa? 35 years ago, he just quit business one day. He started up to his office in the elevator, and he came right back down again. He just stopped. He could have been a rich man, but he said it took too much time. So for 35 years, he's just collected snakes and gone to circuses and commencements, and it never occurs to any of them.
Oh, well, hello there, children.
Good evening, Mrs. Randolph.
Hello, Grandpa.
Well, how's the weather? Looks like a nice summer evening.
Yes, it's lovely.
Well, I'm off. Goodbye, Mr. Kirby. I've got a date with the policeman on the corner.
Policeman?
Oh, yes, we got a standing date, 12:30 every night. I've known him since he was a little boy. He's actually a doctor, but after he graduated, he came to me and said he didn't want to be a doctor. He wanted to be a policeman. So I said, you go ahead and be a policeman if that's what you want to be. And that's what he did. Oh, say, how do you like my new hat?
It's very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yes, I like it. The government gave it to me.
Oh, excuse me, I knew folks was in here.
It's all right, Donald.
Reba wanted some candies and... Oh, there it is. You all don't want any of them, do you?
No, Donald.
Okay. So how was the ballet?
It was good.
Did you have a nice evening?
Yes, Donald.
Was dinner nice?
Yes, Donald.
That's nice.
Now do you see? Could you explain Donald to your family? Could you explain Grandpa? You couldn't, Tony, you couldn't. I love you, but I love them too, and it's just no use.
Alice! Listen, there's only one thing that you've said that matters, that makes any sense at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
But don't you think other people have had the same problem? Everybody's got a family.
But not like mine.
But that doesn't stop people who love each other. Darling, won't you trust me and go on loving me and forget everything else?
Tony, how can I?
Because nothing can keep us apart. You know that. You must. Your family, they want you to be happy, don't they? They must.
Of course they do, but they can't change, Tony. I wouldn't want them to.
They don't have to change. They're charming, lovable people just as they are. You're worrying about something that may never come up. I promise you, everything will work out.
Tony, am I?
Look, all that matters right now is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, then.
Tony!
Now, I'd like to see a little gaiety around here. Young gentlemen calling and getting engaged and everything.
Well, what do I say?
Well, first, you thank the young man for getting engaged to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
And then, you tell him what it was about him that first took your girlish heart.
The back of your head.
Huh?
Uh-huh. It wasn't your charm, it wasn't your money. It was the back of your head. I just liked it.
Well, what happened when I turned around?
Oh, I got used to it after a while.
Darling, think of it. We're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. I suppose I ought to, good night, darling, until tomorrow.
Good night.
Isn't it wonderful we work in the same office? Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't it be funny seeing each other in the office tomorrow and going on as though nothing had happened?
Thank God I'm vice president. I can dictate to you whenever I want. Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Darling, you're such a fool.
Why don't you meet me in the drugstore in the morning before you head up to the office? I have millions of things I could say to you.
All right.
And then lunch, and then dinner tomorrow night.
Tony, what do people say?
It's gotta come out sometime. In fact, if you know a house stop, I'd like to do a little shout out.
Yes, sir, Mr. DePina. We did a good night's work.
That's what, 500 Black Panthers, 300 willow trees, and 8 dozen Junior Kitty Bottles.
Pretty good. Why, hello, Alice. You just come in?
No, I've been home for a while.
Have a nice evening.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Say, I'd like you to take a look at this new red fire. It's beautiful. Mr. DePino, will you turn off the lights? I want Alice to get the full effect.
What, Father?
Take a look at this new red fire. It's amazing. We got tons of them made up. We got red ones, and obviously blue ones, yellow ones, purple ones. Green ones don't work for some reason. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure this out. There it goes. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes. Oh, Father, everything's beautiful. It's the most beautiful red fire in the world.
You're 1,000 times sweeter than sugar, sweet on the baby of mine. I tell the world I'm crazy about you, sweet on the circle divine. You got a smile like sunny skies. You, that's good.
All right, I said to him, you can take your old job.
Oh, I'm ready to start reading the new play, Miss Wellington. Anytime you are.
Just a minute, dearie.
The only thing is, I hope you don't mind my asking this, but you don't drink when you're acting, do you? I'm only asking, of course.
I'm glad you brought it up. Once the play opens, I never touch a drop. The minute I enter a stage door, the bottle gets put away until intermission.
Have you been on the stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
All my life, I've played everything. Ever seen Peg on My Heart?
Yes.
I saw it too. Good show. My, hot night, ain't it?
Oh, I can get the windows for you, Miss Wellington.
No, the hell with the weather. Say, he's cute.
Oh, Reba, she's just acting, that's all. She don't mean anything.
Hell no, Reba.
Now, we can go upstairs and start the new play, Miss Wellington. Anytime you are. I thought we'd read the new play upstairs in my room.
All right, I'm ready. When I see snakes, it's time to lay down.
Oh dear, Miss Wellington, those are real. Those are Grandpa's. They're perfectly real. It's all right. It's gonna be. Oh, I hope she's not going to. Miss Wellington?
She's out like a light.
Better let her sleep it off.
Reba?
She just passed out.
Good. Do you think she'll be all right?
Yes, but it wouldn't cast her in the religious play.
I suppose I'll just have to wait.
You know, next time you meet an actress on the top of a bus, Penny, I think I'd send her the play instead of bringing her home to read it.
Ed, I wish you'd stop printing and take those love dreams around. You've got to get back in time to play for me when Klenkop comes.
Oh, Kalenkoff coming tonight, huh?
Yes, tomorrow night's his night, but I had to change on account of Alice.
Oh, big doings around here tomorrow night, huh?
Oh, yes, isn't it exciting? Why, I'm so nervous you'd think it was me he was getting engaged to instead of Alice.
I wonder what they'll be like. His mother and father? Oh, Ed, what are you doing now?
Penny, you see the new mask I made last night? Guess who it is?
Oh, wait a minute, don't tell me, Ed. Oh, Helen of Troy.
It's Mrs. Roosevelt.
You know the nice thing about these erector sets, you can make almost anything out of them. Last week it was the Empire State Building.
What is it this week?
Queen Mary.
Hasn't got a hat on.
Oh, look, Mr. DePinna, would you open the door and see if there's a man standing in front of the house? Why? What for? Well, the last few days when I've been out delivering candy, I think a man's been following me.
Ed, you're crazy.
No, I'm not. He follows me and he stands and watches the house.
Really? Well, I'll take a look and see.
I don't see what anyone would want to follow you for, Ed.
Oh, now, Grandpa, there have been lots of kidnappings going on.
Yes, but not of Ed.
Well, did you see him?
There's nobody out there at all.
You sure?
I'm positive. I just saw him walk away.
You see?
Oh, it might have been anybody just walking along the street. Ed, will you hurry and get back?
All right.
Mr. Sycamore, you about ready to head down now and finish packing up the fireworks?
Yep, we gotta take the stuff up to Mount Vernon in the morning.
Mother, may I borrow some paper? I'm making out a list for Reba tomorrow.
Yes, dear, here's some.
Thank you. What happened to your actress friend? Is she giving a performance?
Oh, no, she's not acting, dear. She's really drunk.
Essie, dear, you're going to leave the kitchen for Reba tomorrow, aren't you? She's going to need it.
Yes, of course, Alice. I'm going to start some love rooms now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Mother, I'm coming home from work at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Will that give you enough time to get everything down in the cellar? The typewriter, the snakes, the xylophone, and the printing press?
And Miss Wellington?
And Miss Wellington. That ought to give me enough time to arrange the table and fix the flowers.
You know, the Kirbys are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house.
You'll do all that, won't you, Mother?
Of course, dear.
And I think we'd better have cocktails ready by 7:15 in case they happen to come early. I wonder if we ought to let Reba cook the dinner. What do you think, Grandpa?
No, Alice, I wouldn't worry. From what I've seen of the boy, I'm sure the Kirbys are very nice people. And if everything isn't so elaborate tomorrow night, well, that's all right too.
Dear, I'm not trying to impress them or pretend that we're anything that we aren't. I just want everything to go off well.
There's no reason why it shouldn't, Alice.
Oh, yes, we're all going to do everything we can to make it a nice party.
Oh, my darlings, I love you. You're the most wonderful family in the world, and I'm the luckiest girl in the world. I didn't know anyone could be so happy. This past week has felt like floating. He's so wonderful, Grandpa. Just seeing him, you don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him, huh? Just seeing him for lunch and dinner, and until 4 o'clock in the morning. Then at 9 o'clock the next morning, you're back at the office again, and there he is. Just seeing him, huh?
Well, I don't care. I'm in love. Oh, Reba! Reba!
Nice, isn't it? Nice to see her so happy.
Oh, yes, I remember when I was engaged to Paul, how happy I was. And you know, I still feel the same.
I do. Oh, it's nice the way Ed and Essie get along too, isn't it?
And Donald and Reba, even though they're not married. Do you suppose Mr. DePinna will ever get married?
Well, there's always Miss Wellington.
Oh, I do wish she'd wake up. We're going to start reading that play tonight.
Look what I found.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
It's my painting of you as the discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Oh, yes, I remember. Say, you've gotten a bit heavier, haven't you, Mr. DePinna?
Oh, isn't that noticeable?
Oh, well, it was a long time ago, just before I stopped painting. That's 8 years.
It's too bad you never finished it.
Oh, well, I always meant to, Mr. DePinna, but one day I just started writing a play, and that was that. I never painted again.
Just as well, too. I was going to strip next.
My goodness, who would have thought that day I came to deliver the ice, I'd stay for 8 years.
Well, the milkman was here for 5, just ahead of you.
Oh, that's right. Why did he leave anyway? I forget.
He didn't leave. He died.
Oh, yes.
He was such a nice man. Do you remember the funeral, Grandpa? It was almost impossible to get him a certificate because we couldn't remember his name.
What was the name we finally made up for him?
Martin Vanderhoff. We gave him your name.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Oh, it really was a lovely thought because otherwise you would have never gotten all those flowers.
It certainly was. It didn't hurt me any. Not bother with mail anymore and haven't received a telephone call from that day to this.
Oh, it really was a wonderful idea.
Miss Sycamore, I wish you'd finish that sometime. I'd rather like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePinna? I think I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Say, will you?
Yes, I don't suppose she's going to wake up anyhow, and why don't you go down in the basement and put on your costume and bring my easel up? It's still down there, isn't it?
I think so.
Now, where are my palette and brushes?
Revishka! My little Revishka!
Yes, sir, Mr. Kalenkov.
Oh, hello, Mr. Kalenkov. Essie's in the kitchen.
Madam Sycamore, I greet you. Tell me, Grandpa, what should I do about Revishka? I keep telling her she will make a great toe dancer.
No.
But she laughs only.
Oh, no, sir, Mr. Kalenkov. You see, I can't get up on my toes. I got horns.
Revishka, you got 10 times. A great girl, Grandpa. What is that?
Oh, that's a painting of Mr. DePinna. Penny painted it.
It stinks!
I know. And say, what do you think about that?
What is that?
Oh, she's an actress, a friend of Penny's.
She is drunk. No?
Oh, she's drunk, yes. Well, how are you, Kalenkov?
Magnificent! Like he's chasing around inside of me like a little squirrel.
Tis, huh? Well, what's new in Russia? Any letters from your friend in Moscow?
I just heard from him. I saved for you the stamp.
Oh, thanks, Kalenkov.
They have sent him to Siberia.
Oh, they have, huh? Well, how's he like it?
He's escaped. He has escaped to go back to Moscow. He will get them yet if they do not get him. The Soviet government. I can take the whole Soviet government.
I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Klenkov. I'll get into my dancing clothes right away.
Tonight I have no fun. Really like. Tonight. If I take something new.
Is he making any progress, Kalenkov?
Confidentially, she stinks!
Well, as long as she's having fun.
Oh, man, you sure just made people laugh, Mr. Kalenkov. She's laughing her head off in there.
She's a great woman. Don, what do you think of the Soviet government?
Of the what, Mr. Kalenkov?
I withdraw the question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, I like it fine. You know, I'm on relief.
Oh, yes. And you like it?
Yes, sir, it's fine. The only thing is you gotta wait for the relief every week and stand in line for a half hour. You know, I think the government should be run better than that. Don't you think so, Grandpa?
Well, the government ought to stop sending me letters. I get another one every day. Look at that.
Income tax. They've got to, Grandpa.
Yeah, they want me to pay a lot of money so as to keep Donald here on relief.
You don't say, Grandpa. You're gonna pay it from now on?
Well, that's what they want.
So, wait. So I can stand right here and get it, and I go wait in that line?
No, Donald, I'm afraid you'll have to waste a full half hour of your time every week.
Well, I don't like it. It breaks up my week.
He should have been in Russia when the revolution came. Then he would have stood in line. A bread line! Oh, Grandpa, what they've done to Russia. Think of it. The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina, a cousin of the Tsar. She's a waitress at Child's restaurant. I would have begged beans from her only yesterday. Crazy one, Grandpa.
The world's not so crazy, Kalenkov. It's the people in it. Life's pretty simple if you just relax.
Relax? How can you relax at times like these?
Well, if they relax, there wouldn't be times like these. That's just my point. Life's pretty simple if you just let it come to you. But people forget that. I know I did. I was right in the thick of it, fighting and scratching and clawing. Regular jungle. Till one day, it just kind of struck me. I wasn't having any fun.
So you did fight?
I just relaxed. 35 years ago that was, and I've been a happy man ever since.
Good evening, Mr. Glencott.
Miss Alice, I've not seen you yet to present my congratulations.
Thank you.
May you be very happy and have many children. That is my prayer for you.
Well, that's quite a thought.
Love. Love is all that is left in the world, Grandpa.
Yes, but there's plenty of that.
And soon Stalin will take that away too. I tell you, Grandpa.
Oh,
seems so nice to get into my art things again. They still look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed.
Why, breath of Paris, Madame Sycamore.
Why, thank you, Mr. Kalenkoff.
I had no idea you was working for the WPA.
Oh, no, Donald. I used to paint all the time, see?
It happened again. There was a fellow following me every place I went.
Oh, nonsense, Ed. It's just your imagination.
No, it isn't. It happens every time I go out to deliver candy.
Well, maybe he just wants a piece of candy.
It's all right for you to laugh, Grandpa, but he keeps following me.
You do not know what following is. In Russia, everyone is followed. I was followed right out of Russia.
Of course, you see, Ed, it was just your imagination. Oh, thank you, Mr. DePinna.
Maybe.
Right. Mr. DePinna, has something happened to your figure these 8 years?
I don't think anything's changed.
And for tonight's lesson, use the first movement of Scheherazade.
Okay.
Yes, Miss Wellington. Yes. Woo! Oh, dear.
Sorry, Mr. Klankov, I couldn't find my slippers.
That's all right. We have a hot night tonight, my Pavlova. My art only achieved through perspiration.
Oh, did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved through perspiration.
Oh, yes, but it helps if you have a little talent.
Oh.
I only made 2 bullseyes last night. Gotta do better than that.
You are ready? We begin. Now, get away, get away. Come on, give me to the 18 years now. At last. Entre shot. No, Grandpa. You cannot relax with Stalin in Russia. You saw relax. What happened to him?
Yes, but he was too late.
Mr.
If he had not
Klankov!
relaxed, the
Mr.
Grand Duchess
Klankov!
Olga Katrina would not be selling big beats today.
Mr. Klankov!
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Go back to the pirouettes.
Mr. DePinna, could you pull in your stomach for me? Yes, that's right.
A little freer with the hands. The music must be free as well. Ed, have
Miss
the-
Sycamore? Miss Sycamore!
Yes, Reba.
Good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do? Are we too early?
Oh, no. Come right in. It's no problem at all. Why, we're glad to see you.
Why, yes, of course, only we thought it was be tomorrow night.
What?
Tomorrow night?
Why, it's no problem at all. Just make yourselves at home. Tony, how could you possibly?
I don't know.
Really, Tony, this is most embarrassing.
Oh, why, we weren't doing a thing.
Oh, no, just a quiet evening at home.
Yeah, that's all. Now, don't let it bother you. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
How do you do?
Oh, and Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael. Her husband, Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Klinkov. And Mr. DePinna.
How do you do? Don't mind my costume. I'll take it right off.
No!
No.
Mr. DePinna, would you tell Mr. Sycamore to come right up? Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here.
And be sure to put his pants on?
Excuse me.
Mrs. Kirby.
I better tell Alice that you're here. Oh, Alice dear. Alice dear, would you come down? We have a surprise for you. Oh.
May I take your wrap, Mrs. Kirby?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. You're perfectly sure that...
They're just snakes, Mrs. Kirby. They're perfectly harmless.
Thank you.
Ed, take them in the kitchen.
Of course, we're just so used to having them around the house.
Tony, but snakes happen to
Tony,
me.
I feel very uncomfortable about this. How could you have done such a thing?
I'm sorry, Dad. I thought it was tonight.
Well, it was very careless of you. Very.
Now anybody can get mixed up, Mr. Kirby.
Yes, well, Penny, why don't we see about getting some dinner for these folks? They've come for dinner, you know.
You really shouldn't bother. We're really not hungry at all.
Oh, it's not a bit of a bother at all. Ed! Oh, Ed, could you tell Donald to run down to the A&P and get half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon? Oh, you like canned salmon, don't you, Mr. Kirby?
Oh, please don't troll, Miss Sycamore. I have a little indigestion anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, love it.
Oh, we could make it frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
Then let's make it frankfurters and some canned corn and some Campbell soup. Got that, Ed?
Okay.
And tell him to hurry. Oh, the A&P is just around the corner, and the frankfurters won't take a minute to boil.
Oh, this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore. Mr. and Mrs. Kirby.
How do you do? I hope you forgive my appearance.
Oh, this is Mr. Sycamore's busiest time of year, you see. Just before the 4th of July, he always...
Darling, I'm the most dull-witted person in the world. I thought it was...
Why, Tony, I thought you... I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why I wasn't... Have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice?
How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Darling, you look lovely. Of course she does. Don't let this bother you, my dear. We've all just met each other a night early. That's all.
Of course.
But I was planning such a nice party tomorrow night.
Well, then we'll come again tomorrow night.
There you are, Alice. Am I forgiven?
I guess it's just that we'd better see about getting you some dinner.
Oh, I've already done that, Alice. And that's all been taken care of.
Yes, but what did you send out for? Mr. Kirby has indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Of course it is, Alice.
I asked him what he wanted, dear.
Yes, but...
Now, it's not as serious as all that. Just because I have a little indigestion.
Oh, no, perhaps it is not indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps you have stomach ulcers.
Don't be absurd, Mr. Klinkoff.
Now, you mustn't mind Mr. Klinkoff. He's a Russian, and you Russians are inclined to look on the dark side.
All right, I am Russian, but a friend of mine, a Russian, died from stomach ulcers.
Really?
Please, Mr. Klinkoff. Mr. Kirby has indigestion, and that's all.
All right, let him wait.
Please do have a seat, Mr. Kirby. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
Well.
So, tell me, Mr. Kirby, how do you find business conditions? Do you find we're quite out of the depression?
What? Oh. Well, I suppose so. Of course, it all depends.
But you figure things are going to keep on improving?
Well, broadly speaking, yes. Well, as a matter of fact, industry is now operating at 64% of full capacity. Well, that's opposed to 82% in 1925. Now, of course, in 19...
There was a young lady from Wheeling who had a remarkable feeling. Woo!
Now that may seem a little strange to you people, but she's not quite accountable for her actions. An actress, a friend of Mrs. Sycamore's, she came over to dinner and was overcome by the heat.
Oh, yes, of course. You know, some people feel it more than others. Perhaps I'd better go check on her. Excuse me.
It is awfully hot. You usually escape all this hot weather, don't you, Mrs. Kirby? Up in Maine?
As a rule. I had to come down this week, however, for the flower show.
Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. That blue ribbon is the high spot of her year.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice?
That was a garden show, Essie.
Oh, yes.
I think she'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, well, I'm sure he'll be right back, and then it won't be a minute. I'm afraid you all must be starved.
It's quite all right. Hello. What's this? I didn't realize we had little children in the house.
No, that's mine.
Oh, well, every man must have his hobby. Or do you use this as a model of some kind?
No, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Dad, instead of raising orchids.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. They take 6 years to blossom, don't they? Think of that.
Well, so it wouldn't take longer than that. I have one I've been waiting 10 years for.
Believe it or not, I was once waiting for an orchid.
Yes, well, of course, during that time, they would require the most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb that I was quite familiar with, and...
Donald, here we are. Did you get everything, Donald?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Only they did not have frankfurters. So I got pickled pig's feet.
Ooh, ah, lovely. But never mind, Donald. Just take everything into the kitchen. Mr. Kirby, why don't you keep telling everyone about your orchids? I'm sure they'd love to hear it. And, excuse me.
Quite an expensive hobby, isn't it, Mr. Kirby, raising orchids?
Well, yes. Well, but I feel that if a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
Well, that's very true.
In fact, I need it to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week on Wall Street, I go crazy if I didn't have something like that. Most of the men I know own yachts, just for that very reason.
Why not give up Wall Street?
What's that?
Oh, I was only joking.
I believe it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Although it's more to me than just a hobby. My great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? But everybody knows that's a fake, right?
Well, to me, Mrs. Sycamore, spiritualism is... Well, I would rather not discuss it, Mrs. Sycamore.
Now, Penny, you have one or two hobbies of your own.
Yes, but not silly ones.
I don't think it matters what the hobby is. The important thing is to have one.
To be ideal, though, a great hobby must improve the body as well as the mind. The Romans were a great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. Wrestling, you have to act quick with the body, think quick with the mind.
Wrestling wouldn't be a very practical sport for most of us. I would make a very good showing as a wrestler.
You could be a great wrestler. And you're built for it. Look.
Mr. Kirby, are you hurt?
You all right, Father?
Where are my glasses?
Oh, here they are, Mr. Kirby. Oh, Mr. Kirby, they're broken.
I am sorry. But when you wrestle again, Mr. Kirby, you will, of course, not wear glasses.
I do not intend to wrestle again, Mr. Kalenkoff.
Better sit down, Father.
How could you do such a thing, Mr. Klankoff? And why didn't anyone stop him?
I think perhaps, if you don't mind, perhaps we'd better be going.
Mother?
Please, Mrs. Kirby, please, don't go, Mr. Kirby, please. I've ordered scrambled eggs and plain salad, and please don't go.
I am sorry if I did something wrong, and I apologize.
I can't tell you how sorry I am, Mr. Kirby. If I'd been here...
It's not all right.
Of course it is, Alice. It's all right. We're not going.
Well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
So, you were telling us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. Do you raise quite a variety?
I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do? That was so wrong. I threw him off the floor. Did he kill him?
Please, Mr. Klankoff.
I think dinner should be ready any minute now.
Would you like some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? I've got some freshly made.
My doctor does not permit me to eat candy, thank you.
Oh, but these are nothing, Mr. Kirby. Just coconut and marshmallow and fudge.
Don't, Essie. Well...
Alice!
Pardon me. What is it, Reba?
Okay, well, the eggs, they done fell down the sink.
Make some more, quick.
Well,
sitting down a lot for something.
Oh, all right, okay.
Tell him to hurry. It seems there's going to be a slight delay on dinner, but everything will be ready in just a minute. Whoosh!
I've certainly put you people to a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
No, not at all, Toady.
Oh, look, why don't we play some sort of game while we're waiting?
That'd be fine.
Mother, I don't think Mr. and Mrs. Kirby...
I have an idea. I know a wonderful trick with a glass of water. Or rather, a pot in this case.
No, Mr. Clinton.
No, Mr. Clincock.
But I think Mr. and Mrs. Kirby will love this game. It's perfectly all right.
But, Mother...
I'm not very good at games, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, but Mr. Kirby, any fool could play this game. All you have to do is write your name down on a piece of paper.
Mother, Mr. Kirby doesn't want to play
Oh,
the game.
nonsense, dear. He'll love it. Just write your name down on this piece of paper. Oh, and you do the same on this one, Mrs. Kirby.
Mother, what is this game?
I used to play it when I was in school. It's called Forget-Me-Not. Alrighty. Oh, now here we are, Grandpa. I'm going to call out 5 words, just anything at all. And as I say each word, you are to put down the first thing that comes into your mind. Got that? For example, if I were to say grass, you might put down green. Is that clear? Or if I were to say table, you might write down chair. It's to show the different reactions people have to different things. See how simple it is, Mr. Kirby?
Come on, Father, be a sport.
Very well. I shall be happy to play it.
Yeah, you see, Alice, he does want to play. Oh, now are we all ready?
Ready.
Remember, you must play fair. Write down the first thing that comes into your mind. The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. All right, next word is bathroom.
Mother.
Bathroom, got that?
Go on.
All ready? Lust.
Mother, this isn't exactly...
Nonsense, that word's all right.
Mother, it's not all right.
Oh, I don't know. Seems to me a perfectly fair word.
You see, Alice, you mustn't interrupt the game.
May I have that last word again, please?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it.
This is quite a game, isn't it?
Shh, Grandpa. The next word is honeymoon. Now, Essie. And the last word is sex.
Mother.
Sex. Everybody got sex? All right. Now hand me your papers. Thank you.
So what happens now?
Oh, this is the best part. Now I get to read out your reactions.
Oh, I see. It's really quite an interesting game.
Yes, I knew you would like it, Mr. Kirby. Oh, I'll read out your reactions first. Everybody, I'm going to read Mr. Kirby's paper first. Everybody listen. This is Mr. Kirby. Potatoes, steak. Wow, look at that. That's very good.
I just happened to think of it.
Oh, well, it's very good, Mr. Kirby. Bathroom, toothpaste, yes. Lust, unlawful. Isn't that nice? Oh, honeymoon, trip. Yes, it is. And sex, male. Of course you are. Well, that was a very wonderful paper, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you. It's more than just a game, you know. It's sort of an experiment in psychology.
Ah, yes, we really got to see how your mind works. Oh, now let's see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. This is Mrs. Kirby, everybody. Potatoes, starch. I know what you mean. Oh, bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
What's that?
Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
I don't quite follow that, my dear.
Well, you see, I just thought of you in connection with it. You are in there a good deal. Bathing and shaving and well, you do take a long time.
Indeed. I hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter.
Really, it's such a silly game. I think we ought to stop it.
Yes.
No, please go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, where was I? Ah, yes. Lust, human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
What I meant was that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
I don't agree with you, Miriam. Lust is not a human emotion. It is depraved.
Very well, Anthony, I'm wrong.
Really, it's the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions.
Yes.
No, I rather like this game. Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore. What was the next word?
Honeymoon.
Oh, yes. And what was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Honeymoon? Dull.
Did you say dull?
See, what I meant was is that Hot Springs wasn't very gay that season. All the old people sitting on the porch and nothing to do at night.
That was not your reaction at the time as I recall it.
Father, this is only a game. A very illuminating game.
Please go on, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, this one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street. What do you mean by that, Miriam?
I don't know, Anthony, nothing.
Well, you must have meant something or you wouldn't have put it down.
It was just the first thing that came into my head, that's all.
What does it mean? Sex, Wall Street?
It means... You're always talking about Wall Street. Even when I don't know what it means. Alice, dear, would you mind terribly if we didn't stay for dinner? I'm afraid this game has given me quite a headache.
Yes, perhaps you'd better postpone the dinner a short while.
Oh, but you're still coming again tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm afraid we have an engagement tomorrow night.
Yes, perhaps we'd better postpone the whole affair.
I think we're being
Hot weather.
very ungracious, Father. Of course we'll stay for dinner tonight.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Come, Tony. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
We were fools, Tony. Ever to think it would work. I'm sorry, Mr. Kirby, but I won't be at the office tomorrow. I'm afraid I won't be there at all anymore.
Alice, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, my dear. Terribly sorry. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes, Anthony.
Alice, you mustn't mind this.
It was very nice to have met you all.
Yes. Lovely.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father, I'm not.
I see. Well, your mother and I will be waiting for you at home. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody stay right where you are!
Good heavens!
Don't move!
What does this mean? What is all this? I demand an explanation.
Keep your mouth shut, you! Now, which one is it?
This is him.
Hey, what are you doing? What do you mean?
Grandpa, what is it?
This is an outrage.
Shut up! What's your name, kid?
Edward Carmichael, I haven't done anything.
You haven't, huh?
This all seems a little high-handed to me. What is all this?
Department of Justice.
Good heavens, Jaden!
Ed, what have you
I
done?
haven't done anything. What's the boy done, officer?
What is it? What's it all about?
Does that door lead to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Yes?
Mac. Hey, Jim.
Yes, sir?
Take a look upstairs, see what you find.
Okay.
I haven't done anything.
Come here, you. You ever seen these before?
They're my circulars.
You print this stuff, eh?
Yes, sir?
You get them into boxes of candy, get them into people's houses.
Love dreams.
But I didn't mean anything.
You didn't, huh? Dynamite the Capitol, dynamite the White House, dynamite the Supreme Court. God is the state is God.
But I didn't mean any of that. I just like to print, don't I, Grandpa? Now, officer, the government is in no danger from Ed. Printing's his hobby, that's all. He prints anything.
He does, eh?
I've never even heard such nonsense.
I refuse to stay
Let me
here.
go! Let me get my pipe! Let me get my pipe, will you?
You're right, Chief. Got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city.
But we only use that.
All right, everybody keep still. Everyone in this house is under arrest.
What's that?
Good heavens!
Now, look here, officer, this is all nonsense.
You've got to let me get my pipe. Shut up, all of you.
Teach, come here.
Shut up!
Keep still. Stop it. Stop it.
Now, who's that?
That is my mother.
Well. Line up, all of you.
For appearance in the West Side Court this morning, The defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing fireworks without a permit.
Kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
Well, Mr. Kirby was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the stripteaser, oh, they were fighting all night long.
Well, it says right here that Mr. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company, 62 Wall Street, was among those apprehended, but declared he was in no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks and refused to state why he was at the house at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Racket Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. Ooh, he certainly is a joiner.
All them rich men are elks or something.
Well, I suppose after all of this, Tony would never marry Miss Alice, huh?
No, and it's too bad, too. Miss Alice sure do love that boy.
You ever notice how rich folks always get themselves into trouble?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm poor.
Me too.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that food in the kitchen, though.
Well, we gotta eat it anyhow.
There's gonna be no party tonight, that's for sure. And ain't nobody gonna have an appetite.
Why?
Well, they're all so torn up about Miss Alice.
Oh, what's she leaving for? Where is she even going?
I don't know, mountain someplace. And she's going all right. Nothing nobody said could stop her. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
That's too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
There's not even a balloon left. Look.
Oh, Mr. DePinna. Oh, how's your hand? Is it any better?
Yes, it's better. Is there any more olive oil out there?
Oh, yes, in the kitchen in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could change her.
Oh, is Miss Alice going to be away an awful long time?
I don't know, Reba. She won't say.
My, it's going to be awful lonesome around here without her.
Well, how do you feel, Mrs. Sycamore?
I'm all right, Donald. Just kind of upset. Perhaps if I do some work, I'll feel better.
Well, it won't bother you then, Mrs. Sycamore.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel it's our fault.
Mine more than yours. All these years I've just been going along, enjoying myself when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone ahead and been an architect, I don't know. Something Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm kind of all mixed up now.
When is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. I know he could persuade her.
But she won't, Penny. She won't even talk to him.
Where is he now?
I don't know. Suppose he's walking around the block again. It won't do any good.
Oh, maybe he could catch her on her way out.
It won't help, Penny.
No, I suppose not. I feel so sorry for Tony, too. Oh, well, Grandpa.
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
Oh, but Grandpa.
Well, suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be back. You can take just so much of the Adirondacks, and then you come home.
But it's also terrible, Grandpa.
In a way, but it has its bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, watching Mr. Kirby getting into the patrol wagon, for one thing, or the expression on his face when him and Donald had to take a bath together. Why, I won't forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to, as long as I can have things like this going on.
It was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron stripped her, there was a burlesque dancer there, and she just kept on singing this strip song all the way through. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
I'll bet you Bar Harbor's gonna seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Need any help, Alice?
No thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to press this.
Alice, dear.
Now, Penny, bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you.
Do you want to take some candy along for the train, Alice?
No thanks, Essie.
Oh, but really, dear, you could be just as alone here as you could in the mountains. You could stay up in your room all the time.
No, Mother, I want to be by myself, away from everybody. I love you all, you know that, but I just need to go away for a while. I'll be all right. Father, did you phone for a cab?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
I told Mr. DePinna to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
Oh, he told me, but I forgot.
Oh, I wish I lived in a family that didn't always forget everything, that behaved the way other people's families do. I'm so sick of Donald and cornflakes and everything. Why can't we be like other people?
roast beef and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table and a place that you can bring your friends to without... Oh!
I'll see if I can do anything.
Oh, Tony, go talk to her. She's in the kitchen.
Thank you.
Alice, won't you please talk to me?
It's no use, Tony.
At least listen to me. You're not being very fair.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked right out the minute he came in.
They knocked the olive oil right out of my hand, so I'm gonna smell kind of fishy.
How are you feeling, Mr. DePina? Your hand's still hurting you?
No, it's better.
Everything burnt up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. Even my Roman costume.
See, I told you there was a bright side to everything. I'll accept my 23 years back income tax. I get another letter about it every day.
Say, what are you planning on doing about that?
Well, I had kind of an idea yesterday. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try it anyhow.
What is it?
Good evening, everybody.
Why, Mr. Kalenkov.
Hello, Klinkov.
Forgive me, the door was open.
Oh, yes, just come right on in.
You will excuse my coming today. I realize you are all upset.
That's all right, Mr. Kalenkov.
I don't think I can take a lesson today, Mr. Kleinkopf. I don't feel up to it.
Well,
Oh, but do stay to dinner, Mr. Kalenkov. We've got all that stuff in the kitchen and somebody's got to eat it.
I will be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Now, I wonder if I know all of you well enough to ask of you a great favor.
Of course, Mr. Kalenkov. What is it?
You've heard me talk of my friend, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
Yes.
She's a great woman, the Grand Duchess. Her cousin was the Tsar of Russia, and today she is waitress in Child's Restaurant, Times Square.
If there's anything at all that we can do, please.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess hasn't had a good meal since, about before the Revolution.
Oh, she must be very hungry.
And today, the Grand Duchess not only has her day off, Thursday, but it is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Mr. Kalenkov, if you mean you'd like the Grand Duchess to join us for dinner, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes.
On behalf of the Grand Duchess, I thank you all.
Oh, I can hardly wait. Where is she now?
She's outside the street.
Oh,
Wait, I bring her.
Ed, straighten your tie and I see your dress. So how about me? Do I look all right?
Things like this keep up, I think I want to live to be 150.
Oh.
I present to you the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina!
Oh.
Your Highness, permit me to introduce you to Madame Sycamore, Madame Carmichael, Grandpa,
Madame.
Mr. Carmichael, Mr. Sycamore, and Mr. DePina.
All right, now, Mr. Pin.
Please be seated, Your Highness.
Thank you. You are both kind.
We are honored to receive you, Your Highness.
I'm most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, it'll be soon, Your Highness, very soon.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I'm substituting for another waitress.
I will make sure you're on time, Your Highness.
Thank you, Kalenkov.
Say, Duchess, I think you waited on me at Child's once. The 72nd Street place.
No, that was my sister.
The Grand Duchess Tasha.
I work in Times Square.
Oh, there certainly are a lot of your folks over here now, aren't there?
Yes, many. My uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei, he is an elevator man at Macy's. A very nice man. And then there's my cousin, Prince Alexis. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works at Saks Fifth Avenue. He is in ladies' underwear.
And he was selling hot dogs at Coney Island. He would talk to you.
Kalenkov, our time is coming. My sister Natasha is studying to be a manicurist. Uncle Sergei, they have promised to make floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to the Fifth Avenue Childs. And from there, it is only a step to Schraff's. And then we will see what Prince Alexis has to say.
I think you got him.
You're telling me?
Did you know the Tsar, Your Highness? Personally, I mean.
Of course, he was my cousin. It's terrible what happened, but Perhaps it was for the best. Where could he find a job now?
Crop, that is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in every family. My cousin, the King of Sweden, he was very kind to us for about 10 years. Every once in a while he would send a money order, but then he said, I just cannot go on, I'm not doing so well myself. I do not blame him.
No, of course not. Would you excuse me for a moment, please?
Say, Duchess, is it true what they say about Rasputin?
Oh, everyone wants to know about Rasputin. Yes, my dear sir, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
We have to watch the time, Your Highness.
Oh, yes, I must not be late. The manager does not like me.
He is a communist. Oh, we'll hurry things along. Essie, why don't you go in the kitchen and see if you can help Reba?
Oh, I will help too. I'm a very good cook.
Oh, but Your Highness, not on your day off.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
Oh, right through here, but you're the guest of honor, Your Highness.
But I love to cook. Come, Kolenkov. If they've got sour cream and pot cheese, I will make you some blintzes.
Blintzes! I will all Pavlova, he will show something.
Say, Duchess is all right, isn't she? Hey, Duchess, you mind if I help? Gee, she's got a wonderful face for a mask, hasn't she?
She really is nice considering she's a Grand Duchess and all.
Wonderful what some people go through, isn't it? And they still seem kind of gay, too.
She's made me forget about everything for a moment.
Suppose I should call that cab now.
Oh, what? Oh, no, Paul, wait, I think they're coming now.
Ed, will you please go up and bring my bag down?
Don't you do it, Ed.
Ed, please.
All right, Ed, bring it down. You know you've got the stubbornest daughter in all the 48 states.
Oh, that must be the cab.
Well, if it is, it's certainly wonderful service.
Is Tony here, Alice?
Yes, come in, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tony, I want you to come home immediately. Your mother is very upset.
Very well, Father. Bye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I need hardly say it, this is just as painful for Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is for all you people. I'm sorry. But I'm sure you all understand.
Oh, yes. And in a way, no. Now, I'm not the kind of person that tries to run other people's lives, Mr. Kirby, but the fact is, I don't think these two young people have as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, could you please
No,
not?
Alice, I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
Oh, Alice, do you want me to do that for you?
No, Mother.
Now, Alice, you've got quite a while before the train leaves.
Hello, could you send a cab to 761 Claremont, please? Right away. That's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Oh, Father.
Are you ready, Tony?
Mr. Kirby, I suppose after last night you think this family's kind of crazy.
Well, I wouldn't say that. However, I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Yes, but you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, you came on the wrong night. Now, tonight, I'll bet you, nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
Mr. Vanderhoff, it is not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs.
Alice,
For the last time, will you marry me?
No, Tony. I know what your father's saying, and he's right.
No, he's not.
Alice, you're in love with this boy, and you're not marrying him because we're the kind of people we are.
Grandpa.
I know, you think the families wouldn't get along, and maybe they wouldn't, but who says that they're right and we're wrong?
I never said that. I only feel
What
like...
I feel is that Tony's too good of a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
what's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy. The way you are.
I assure you, Mr. Vanderhoff, I'm a very happy man.
Are you?
Most certainly I am.
I don't think so. Where do you get all that indigestion from, Mr. Kirby? Happiness? No, sir. You get it because you spend most of your time doing things you don't want to do.
I don't do anything I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. Why, you said last night, after the end of a week on Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Well, that's my business. A man can't just give up his business.
Why not? You got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Vanderhoff. But I've spent my entire life building up my business.
Oh yeah, and what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning, same kind of deals, same kind of meetings every day, same kind of dinners every night, same indigestion. Where does the fun come in? Don't you think there ought to be something more, Mr. Kirby? You must have thought that whenever you started out. You know, we haven't got much time left, any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Live the way you do? Do nothing?
Why, I have lots of fun. I have time enough for everything. Read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my darts. I even have time to notice when the spring comes in. I don't see anybody I don't want to, and I don't have 6 hours of things I have to do before I get 1 hour to do what I like in. And I haven't taken bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
The matter with it? Suppose everyone lived that way. A fine world we'd have, everyone going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
Oh, there's plenty of people to work. You can't stop them. Inventions, and they fly the ocean. And there's plenty of people to go down to Wall Street, too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, Mr. Kirby, I don't think you're one of them. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of missing anything.
I wasn't either, until I quit. Used to go down to that office 9 o'clock sharp every morning, no matter how I felt. Used to lay awake at night and fear if I get that contract. I used to worry about the world, too. Got all worked up about whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to be elected the next president. Oh, it seemed awful important at the time, but who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had 35 years of happiness that no one can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world. See?
Yes, I do. And that's a very dangerous philosophy, Mr. Vanderhoff. Why, it's un-American. And it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want Tony to come under the influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
What's the matter with it? It's downright communism is what it is.
You didn't always think so.
Yes, I did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so because there was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Don't be an idiot, Tony.
I saw those letters you wrote to Grandfather. Do you remember those?
No. How dared you read those letters? How dared you?
Why, that's wonderful, Mr. Kirby. Did you wear tights?
I most certainly did not. The whole thing is ridiculous. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes. But at 18, you wanted to be a saxophone player.
Tony.
And at 21, you ran away from home because Grandfather was going to force you into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well, well, well. I may have had some silly notions in my youth. But thank God my father knocked him out of me. He brought me into the business, and I haven't thought about him since.
Not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone sitting in the back of your clothes closet.
There is?
That's enough, Tony. We'll discuss this later.
No. I want to talk about this now. I think that Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I am never going back to that office. I have always hated it, and I am not going on with it anymore. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony, well, for heaven's
Because I
sake.
wanted you to wake up. I wanted you to see a real family as they really were. A family that loves and understands each other. You don't understand me because you've never had time. Well, I'm not going to make the same mistake you did. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be forced into the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while I still have time.
But, Tony, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something. that I want to do.
Oh, that must be the cab.
Ask him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa.
Alice, do you mind? Mr. Kirby, Tony's going through exactly what you and I did when we were his age. We all did it, and we were right. Why, who when they're young would settle for what they eventually get? All those plans we made, what happens to them? You know, it's only a few of us that are lucky enough to look back and say that we even came close. And so, I think before they clean out that closet, Mr. Kirby, I get a few good hours on that saxophone.
I beg your pardon, but before I make the blitzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Oh, Your Highness, may I introduce Mr. Anthony Kirby? And Mr. Kirby Jr.
How do you do? Before I make the blitzes, how many will there be for dinner?
Oh, I'd make a whole stack of them, Your Highness. You can't ever tell.
Good. The Tsar always said to me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blitzes.
Who did you say that was, Mr. Vanderhoff?
Oh, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's making the dinner.
Oh.
And speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you and Tony both stay?
Oh, please do, Mr. Kirby. We've got all that stuff we were going to use last night. I mean tonight.
Looks like it's going to be a pretty good dinner, and it'll kind of give us a chance to get acquainted, too. What do you say?
How about it, Father? Are we staying for dinner?
Well, if you'd care to, Tony, I'd like to. Very much.
Now, if Alice could see that cab away, Mr. Vanderhoff?
What do you say, Alice? Looks like it's going to be a pretty good crowd. Don't you think you ought to stay for dinner?
I'm staying, Alice. Don't you think the families ought to get to know each other?
But Mr. Kirby, Tony, Tony,
Darling.
Grandpa, you're wonderful.
Oh, I've been telling you that for years.
Here's a letter for you, Grandpa. It was in the icebox.
Let me see. Oh, it's from the government again.
How do you do, Mr. Kirby?
How do you do?
Oh, won't you please step into the office, Miss Sycamore? I'd like to do a little dictation. Better tell that cab.
Well, well, well.
What is it, Grandpa?
It's from the government. Seems I don't owe them a dime. I died 8 years ago.
Why, what do they mean, Grandpa?
Do you remember Charlie the Milkman, who we buried under my name?
Yes.
Well, I wrote to them and told them they made a mistake. I'm Martin Vanderhoff Jr. They apologized immediately, and I may even get a refund.
Why, Grandpa, you're an old crook.
Sure.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff? How are you avoiding the income tax?
Right, my friends, you're going to eat!
Hi there.
How do you do?
Fine, fine. Glad to see you.
What has happened?
Oh, he's relaxing. That's right. Play something, Ed.
Everything will be ready in a minute. You can sit down.
Come on, everybody, dinner's ready. Oh, come on, Mr. Kirby, it's time for dinner.
Yes, yes, I'm coming.
Oh, stop dancing, Essie, dinner's ready.
Nor is happy. You're going to like ration food.
Oh, but be careful of your indigestion, Mr. Kirby.
Nonsense. I haven't any indigestion.
Well, Miss Sycamore, how was your trip to that Adirondack?
Shut your face, Mr. Kirby.
You know, in Russia.
Okay, quiet, everybody. Quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. We just want to say thanks once more for all that you've done for us. Looks like things are going to be just fine. Alice is going to marry Tony, and it looks like they're going to be very happy. Of course, the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePinna's fault. Not yours. Now, we've all still got our health, and as far as anything else is concerned, we leave it up to you. Thank you.
Grandpa, I've heard from my friends in Moscow. It's escaped again!
Save the stand for me.
Now we have roast goose for dinner, Mr. Kirby. Do you like roast goose?
Like it? Well, it's my favorite dish.
I'm going to dance for you later, Mr. Kirby. I've got a new mazurka.
I've written some special music for it.
Tell me, Mr. Kirby, what do you think of this?
We gotta start thinking about next year's fireworks, Mr. DePinna.
Well, here goes the Adirondacks.
And a very good thing, too.
Hold that tight, 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 hold that tight. Where's that tight? 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 Where's that tight?